notice how Spotify knows your music taste better than your best friend? Or how Netflix shows you products you were just thinking about? Even your phone unlocking with your face, that's not luck. That's machine learning in action. Machine learning means teaching computers using data so that they can recognize patterns and make decisions by themselves. And in this video, we're breaking it down in the simplest way possible. So what you'll learn is what machine learning actually means, how machine learning works with real-life examples, when to use machine learning, the main types of machine learning, common machine learning techniques. So whether you're a complete beginner or thinking about a career in tech, this video will give you a solid start. Let's get started.
Good. So let's talk about what machine learning. So we know that machine learning is basically the subset of artificial intelligence. It basically focuses on the development of the algorithm and the model that enable the computer to learn and to make the prediction or to make the decision without being explicitly programmed. This is the very main thing when you will going to explain the machine learning. This is the very main thing which you need to understand, and that is without being explicitly programmed. So without being explicitly programmed mean to say that without human intervention, means in here we are creating a machine which will going to help or which will going to learn and which will going to help in making the prediction or the decision without the human intervention, that no longer human is required to modify the algorithm for the better prediction. In here, in the machine learning, we know that machine learning is basically the combination of machine and learning. Of course, machine is used for the computer in the predictive task. And learning is basically, of course, we know the program changing how they process the data over time, much like how humans change and how we process the data by learning. So this is what we call machine learning. So in simple words, that how the machine basically works, machine learning basically works. In here, what I am going to do, I am going to feed my machine. This is the machine and this is my data. So I am going to feed the data to the machine. The data will going to be processed by the machine. Here we can see the data is being processed by the machine. After processing the data by the machine will going to analyze, or the machine will going to find out the pattern, the similar pattern which is available in this data. After coming up with the similar pattern which is available in this data, it will going to learn about this particular structure. And now when I am going to put an image of anything which will going to be like this, then the machine will going to process it. It will going to match it with the learning that it have basically trained itself over this data, and then it will going to give us the output that this is the similar kind of structure which I have been trained. So this is how it basically works. Now, when we should use the machine learning, when we will going to use the machine learning, we will going to use the machine learning when I am having a lot of data. When I am having a lot of data, which is quite difficult to process. When I want to automate some task, in the automation of such some task, we use the machine learning. Of course, we know that we do the task automatic. So we basically automate the task by using the machine learning. Also, We use the machine learning if there is something impossible or it is very difficult for humans to perform, to do. So if there is something which is nearly impossible or difficult for humans to process or to do, then we use the machine learning. Or we want to take real-time decisions. Suppose there is something very about there is a huge data, and in that data we have to take a real-time decision, real-time prediction. Then at that moment of time we use the machine learning. Okay, if I want to do the personalization means to say that if you know that the recommendation system, how the recommendation system basically works. If I am going to search something, or if I am going to talk about some of the product, that product will going to reflect on my, it will going to reflect on my mobile phone. Whenever I am going to open any of the e-commerce website or anything, then it will going to show the products like that only. One more example, Netflix. If I am watching a particular type of movies on Netflix, suppose let's say horror. If I'm basically if I'm watching the movies with with the genre this horror, then the Netflix will going to recommend me the movies like that only. So this is what personalization. So machine will also going to help in the personalization. Also, if I want to understand the working of something, that how this particular thing basically works, and I want to understand that entire process, then I am going to use machine learning. We're going to use the machine learning in case of optimization. Optimization is basically when we require the image is doing it very well. That if I want to perform a task, how we can perform it, in what way we can perform it, and what will going to be the best possible way to perform it. Example, Google Maps. In the Google Maps, when you will going to search for any of the destination, then it will going to suggest you number of route which you can take to reach to your destination. That number of route is basically the optimization, because Google will going to select the route for you which is less time taking and which is convenient, the fastest route. Then we are having the prediction. Of course, if I want to do some prediction over something, then I am going to use machine learning. Prediction like the weather forecast, that is today it will going to rain or not, or tomorrow it will going to rain or not, or whether this is cancerous or not, or etc. etc. Now let's talk about the types of machine learning. Mainly, we are having four types of machine learning. These are the four main types of machine learning. Apart from this, we are having many other types of machine learning as well, but these are the main four type of machine learning. The first one is supervised, unsupervised, and then semi-supervised, and then reinforcement learning. Now let's talk about these one by one. First, supervised learning. Supervised learning, we know, always remember that supervised learning works on the labeled data. Labeled data mean to say that when I am going to have the question along with their corresponding answer, when I am going to have the input along with their corresponding outputs, then it will going to be supervised machine learning. Now, Supervised machine learning, basically it is the algorithm that learns from the labeled training data where each data point is paired with the correct answer. Example, we have just an example here. These are the photos. Okay. Now these are just the images. Now along with this, I am putting a label that these images are of Apple. So what I am doing, I am basically doing the labeling of it. This type of thing is called as the labeled data. Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the labeling. So we are labeling the data that this data is basically Apple. So this is the so we can consider that these are the questions and these are its corresponding answer. Now I am going to feed my machine that this particular structure is Apple. Machine will going to process all the data, and after finding out all the possible structures, pattern, and complexity, and etc etc, the machine will going to learn that okay, this is Apple. Like example, one more example if I'm going to take, we know that when the kids are small, we used to teach our kids that this is apple, this is banana, this is whatever, right? So and after we teach them, they process it that okay, this particular shape or this particular color will going to be apple or banana or orange or whatever you can say. Sometimes it happens that you will going to when they are in the early stage of learning, you will going to hand them the orange. Now they will try to recognize it with the shape of it, so they will going to say that this is apple. It happens, right? Because
Yes.
they are judging it with the shape. So just like that machine also do it, but you will going to tell them that okay, if it is uh, red in color, then it is apple. So just like that, machine also learn all the things which are available in the data. After learning, when the machine comes up that okay, machine basically learned this, that okay, this is apple. Now, whenever I am going to put a new image into the machine, then machine will going to come up with the answer that it is an apple. Getting my point? What is supervised machine learning? In simple words, supervised machine learning works on the label data. Fine. So it learns to make the predictions or classify the new data based on the patterns observed in the training set. This is what we call a supervised machine learning. Then we are having unsupervised machine learning. Unsupervised machine learning don't have the labeled data. It is having just unlabeled data. Unlabeled data mean to say that there are just questions, but there are not its corresponding answers. There are just inputs, but not their corresponding outputs. So when I am going to feed my machine with the unlabeled data, with some complex type of data, then the machine will going to process this, and machine will try to find out the similar kind of pattern and structure which is available in this data. And after getting the similar kind of structure and pattern available in this data, it will going to scrutinize it in a particular group, in a similar kind of group. That will going to be done by the machine learning, also unsupervised machine learning. In here, machine will not going to do any of the prediction. Here, the prediction is not happening. Here, machine is learning. Machine is learning. Of course, machine is learning about the pattern which is available in the data. But machine cannot tell me that this is apple, and this is watermelon. Correct?
No.
Because right now my machine is not trained with that. If I'm going to put the label here that this is apple and this is watermelon, and the machine will going to, and then I am going to send this data again to the machine, then it will going to learn it. And at that moment of
Oh,
time, that type of learning will going to be considered as supervised learning,
supervised.
right? So in simple words, is it basically discovers the pattern, structure, or the relationship in the data without specific guidance. For that, it doesn't require any guidance. It can find out the similar kind of pattern, structure, and the relationships in the data. But in the unlabeled data, the data is not labeled, right?
Yeah.
Then we are having semi-supervised learning. The name itself is saying semi-supervised. Semi-supervised mean to say that the it combines, of course, the combination of supervised and unsupervised. Means this combines elements of supervised and unsupervised learning where the algorithm learns from a combination of labeled and the unlabeled data. Now, let's suppose this is the data with me. Now, what I am going to do in this data, machine basically scrutinize this. Fine. So when the machine basically scrutinize this, which type of machine learning is happening here? Unsupervised. Okay. Now, what I am going to do? Okay. Can you tell me which type of learning can happen first? Supervised or unsupervised? Unsupervised will going to happen first. See,
Okay.
you are having this data, right?
Yeah.
Either you can label one by one, or you can give this data to the machine. The machine will going to find out the similar kind of pattern which are available, and here are the similar kind of pattern. Now what you are doing, you just labeled one picture.
Oh,
You
yeah.
just label one picture that okay, this picture is apple and this picture is watermelon. Fine. Now the machine will going to take this label data and it will going to come up with the prediction for these images also, that okay, all these things are apple, all these things are watermelon.
Okay.
This is semi supervised. In here, how it is semi supervised? Because in here, unsupervised and supervised learning are working together. Then we are having the reinforcement learning. Now what is reinforcement learning? Reinforcement learning is basically works on the feedback mechanism. Means action reaction, not action reaction. It is basically feedback. Yeah, it basically when the machine basically learns on the basis of action reaction mechanism. Now what is the meaning of that? In this algorithm, this algorithm learns by interacting with an environment and receiving the feedback in the form of reward or the punishments. Example, if you want to train the dog, how you can train it? If you want to train a dog, that if you want to that if that the stick game, we know we people used to play the ball game or the stick game with the dog, that they throw the ball and the dog will going to pick it up. So
Yes.
how you will going to train the dog to get this ball for you every time whenever you will going to throw it? How you will going to do it? Just leave it. If you want to teach a kid a particular subject, let's suppose mathematics. We know mathematics is not liked by the students, right? So let's suppose you want to teach maths to a kid. How you will going to teach? If I want to teach a kid something, let's suppose this mathematics, there are two ways. whether I can teach the kid by giving the treat that, okay, if you will going to do it, I am going to provide you this. Example,
Mhm.
the
Okay.
parents are having this tendency to say, if you will going to score good in the exam, we will going to give you the surprise gift, right?
Okay.
Or you can buy this, right? Parents are having this tendency, they do it, right?
Yeah.
Either you can do this, or you can do, like, if you will not going to score the exam, I will going to beat you like hell.
Yeah.
You will going to get punished for that, right? And as a parent, we do that, right? We punish
Yeah.
the kids if they don't score good. So, and kids again understood, and they know that if I am going to score bad, then I am going to get punished. So they try to score good. So these are the two ways. So either I can train somebody with the reward or with the penalty. Fine. So just like that, machine basically learns here on the basis of the rewards and the punishments. So it learns to take action that minimize the cumulative reward over time. This type of learning is in force in model to learn how to make decisions. In this method, we train the machine using reward feedback to learn from its experience and find the best possible behavior or the path it should take in specific situations. Example, the self-driving car, the chatbot response. Okay, now we are having these other type of machine learning techniques also. So let's talk about these also one by one. In this, we are having transfer learning, deep, self-supervised, multi-instance learning, inductive learning, deductive learning, transductive learning, multitask, and active learning. And these are the things. Now, let's talk about the transfer learning. Transfer learning is basically what? Example, suppose you are working in an organization and you learned a skill in this organization to perform a particular type of task. Now you left the job from here. You joined somewhere else. Now the same type of task come up in front of you again. So are you going to apply the knowledge which you have gained in the previous company or not? You will going to apply the knowledge which you have gained in the previous company to complete that particular task. So what you are doing, you are basically transferring the knowledge of what you have learned in the previous task to perform the present task. Correct? So this is what we call a transfer learning. So transfer learning is basically the machine's ability to reuse the knowledge learned from one task and apply it to the another. Example, here is my data. This data is being uh, like processed by the machine. So it will going to be considered as so this is the knowledge. This processing is basically the knowledge. And then during this task, the machine will going to come up with a prediction. Now the another task is happening, which is of similar kind. Now, like instead of creating the new knowledge, it will going to take the learning which it learned from the previous task. It will going to apply it on the second data, and it will going to come up with the prediction. This is what we call a transfer learning. So it is the machine's ability to reuse the knowledge learned from one task and apply it to the another. It is basically the detection of other vehicles on the road, because the self-driving car already learned this in the previous task, that this is the vehicle. So now I have to take care of it.
Okay.
Correct? In this transfer learning, there are two steps. One is pre-training and then fine-tuning. Pre-training is basically example. Right now, you don't know anything about artificial intelligence, correct? What I am doing, I am giving you the training right now. But after the completion of this training, you will going to be trained enough for this artificial intelligence. But I am going to say that, okay, Leslie, whatever doubt you will going to have regarding this, you can ask now. Now you have already trained with this course, but there may be the chance that you will going to be left with some small doubts, which you need to clear. Then you will going to ask me, and I am going to clear it. Do I am going to give you the training from the starting again? No. I am just going to clear some of the doubt of yours, right? So this is
Yeah.
the fine tuning. This is the fine tuning. We are having the deep learning. We know that the deep learning is basically the subset of machine learning. So, but deep learning is entirely a different field. We will going to talk about it. So deep learning is basically the subfield of machine learning. It basically focuses on training the artificial neural network with multiple number of layers, which is known as the deep neural network, to learn and to make the prediction or the decisions. As you can see, these are having multiple number of layers. These are the layers of neurons. So this this deep learning algorithm is basically inspired by the structure and functioning of the human brain, especially the interconnected network of neurons. Deep learning is the machine's ability to learn multiple levels of representation and abstraction at the same time. Example, now let's try to now let's try to understand how it basically works. As you can see, these are having multiple number of layers. The first layer will going to be the input layer. The last layer will going to be the output layer. Any other layer in between the input and the output will going to be the hidden layer.
Okay.
Right? Each and every layer will going to process the data. Each and every dot is basically a separate neuron. Each and every dot is a separate neuron. Each and every neuron will going to process the data, and it will going to come up with the prediction. And each and every neuron is connected to each and every other neuron of the other layer. Fine. So this is the deep learning. Now, in here, the other difference in the machine learning and deep learning is that, firstly, in the machine learning, artificial neural network is not being used, but in the deep learning, artificial neural network is being used. In the machine learning, the human intervention is required to extract the feature from the data. Let's suppose this is my input and I'm providing the input to the machine. So I have to intervene in between to extract the feature or to give the features of this particular input to the machine. And then the machine will going to process it, and it will going to tell that whether it is a car or not. But in the deep learning, I just have to provide the input to the machine. The machine itself will going to extract all the features by using the artificial neural network, and then it will going to see the classification of it, and then it will going to come up with the prediction that whether it is a car or not. We are having the self-supervised learning. Self-supervised learning is basically, it is the way for computers to learn from examples without needing someone to label everything for them. In this, machine by itself label the data from the previous memory. It will going to label the data itself. As it is labeling the data itself, that is why it is called as self-supervised. Means it is making the data labeled by itself to process it. And we know that if I am going to train the machine with the labeled data, then it will going to become supervised machine learning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is why it is called as the self-supervised learning. Then we are having the multi-instance learning. Okay, suppose you are having uh, 10,000 images of Apple. You are having the images, and these are images of, these are 10,000 images. I am going to ask you that, Leslie, you have to label these pictures of Apple so that we can train it, so that we can feed it into the machine, and the machine can give us the prediction that, okay, this is the Apple. So how you will going to do it? How you will going to do the labeling?
You have to differentiate them.
Means are you going to rename are you going to rename each and every file with the name Apple,
It's too much. You have to separate
right?
them.
Yeah, that is too much, because you have to do it, because you have to do it for each and every file, so it is too much for you. So instead, what you will going to do, you will going to put all these pictures with whatever name it is. You will going to put all these pictures into a particular folder, and you will going to name the folder as Apple. So by default, whatever pictures are available inside that folder is Apple,
Apple. Mm-hmm.
right? So this is the multi-instance learning. Multi-instance learning is basically training the data. It is the training data is not labeled individually. It is nicely arranged in a bag, and that entire bag is labeled. Example, computer vision. Computer vision is basically is the technique for the recognition of the objects. Now, how the machine is recognizing the objects? Because it is having already available data, which is there inside the folder on which the machine is learning, right? So this is the multi-instance learning. Then we are having the inductive learning. Inductive learning is basically, in this method, machine does not learn from the labeled data. It uses the data as input, result as output, and learn from the rules and the relations which is between in the input and the outputs. So in here, firstly, this was the input data, right? And this was the output data. So you learned the pattern which is available in between them, that okay, plus 3, then this will going to be the output. Okay, now this becomes input data. This is the input data. Now you will going to follow the same pattern, and you will going to come up with the output. So this is the output now. And then for the next one, it will going to become input, and the next one will going to become output. In simple words, in the inductive learning, you will not going to provide the rule or the principle to the machine. The machine will going to get this, the machine will going to process the data, and the machine will try to find out the machine will try to find out the relationship, is whatever relationship or the complexity is there in the data, and it will going to set its own rule on the basis of the pattern which is available in the data. Getting it? Just opposite to the inductive, we are having the deductive. Now, what is deductive learning? Deductive learning, in the inductive learning, we were not providing the rules or the principles to the machine. The machine was making, by analyzing the data, machine was making the rules by itself, by understanding the pattern which is available in the data. But in the deductive learning, we will going to provide the principle first to the machine, and on the basis of that principle we will going to ask the machine to give me the answer. Example, if I'm going to say that Leslie, who is having more tendency to cheat, girl or a boy? If I'm going to say that Leslie, every girl will going to cheat and Jessica is a girl, so what you will going to understand with this, that Jessica will going to cheat. Correct?
Yeah.
So I am putting the rule inside your brain that every girl will going to cheat. Now, whenever a girl will going to come up, then you will going to think what? That okay, that girl will going to cheat, right? So, like example in here, we are having this that all men's are mortal, and Jason is basically a man. So of course, Jason is mortal,
Mortal.
right? Because all men are mortal. So in here, we are setting the rule first, and we are feeding this rule to the machine, and then we are providing the data to the machine, and then the machine is, on the basis of the rule which I have provided to the machine is coming up with the conclusion. So this is the deductive. You got the difference in between inductive and deductive, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So deductive learning is basically the machine learning method, which is opposite of the inductive learning. In this technique, the machine learns from the labeled data and it basically generalize it in order to make good prediction for unlabeled data. Then we are having the transductive learning. Transductive learning is nothing but we are in here, we are basically in this method, in like the inductive learning, this machine learning method also teach the machine with unlabeled data, but unlike the inductive machine learning, here the machine predict the relations of new data, which is the labeled data, together with the old data. Means on the basis of the previous data, the new data will going to be connected and it will going to be processed to find out the similar kind of relationship in it. So it is the transductive, means the combination of deductive and the inductive. Now let's talk about the multitask learning. Multitask learning is basically this is the method when machine learns from multiple tasks without sharing information between them. Means, let's suppose this particular model can perform can recognize the object. This particular model can recognize the voice. This particular model can let's say perform another task. Now, if I'm going to use this multiple model in multiple number of areas, if one model will going to perform multiple tasks, then it is called as multitask learning. When machine model is learning multiple number of tasks. Like in natural language processing, it can translate the statement from one language to the another language. It can also helps us to understand that language. It can also helps us to find the sentiment behind it. It can also help us to classify the particular statement, right? So here multiple number of tasks are happening. This is what we call a multitask learning. Then we are having the active learning. Active learning is basically nothing but making the machine to understand the entire data with very small amount of labeled data. With very small amount of labeled data. So in this is where the machine only learns from the little number of data and makes a lot of policy after working on it. So this is what we call active learning. Means in simple words, if I am going to tell, if suppose example, I am going to take the example, another same example for the girl. So if suppose you are being encountered with a girl and that girl shows you a particular type of behavior, right? So what you will going to generalize, you will going to make a statement, a generalized statement that all girls are same like this, right? So you are basically, you are not being introduced with every girl which is available in this world, but still you are making a generalization or generalized statement that all girls are having the same behavior. So this type of is called as active learning. This is basically the machine perception. That is why we are calling it perception. Fine. So these are the types of machine learning.